Hey everybody, and welcome back to another book review. This book has been in the pile for a little less time than some of the other books, but it's part of a series that I had started a few book reviews ago, and that is the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa. So this is the second book in the series called Iron Daughter. And it was just as fun as the first book. I really like the kind of homage to Midsummer Night's Dream a little bit, but also kind of playing on the whole, like, Puck is a complete jokester and he loves playing jokes, and so kind of really keeping up that character, but also giving him a lot of human qualities. So that's always fun. But overall, the book was interesting, definitely a little bit different to the fairies that we always think of when we think of like fairy tales or even Midsummer Night's Dream. This is still a little bit different. And just giving them more of like the horror side of fairies, not quite like so crazy that like you're like, this is off-putting, but just enough that it is just an interesting spin on fairies. So I really liked that. Again, the main character in the book, her name is Megan Chase, and she is half fairy, half human, and she's basically been relegated to the fairy world because she promised herself that she would help kind of get things back to normal. And then throughout this book, you kind of see her start to kind of be torn. The concept of, do I go back home to my friends and my family that I've known as a human, or do I stay and help with the fairy world because that is technically part of me and I'm actually, like really cool with it and I love it. So there's a lot of back and forth with her character, but the downside to the book is, well, one, it's written for teens, definitely, and it was very obvious in this book that it's kind of more of that teenage love where you don't know what to do with your first heartbreak and all of that jazz. But I got kind of annoyed with Megan Chase, this whole just like back and forth, and I think the author was kind of trying to do the whole Midsummer Night's Dream thing in there a little heavily on this one, and it just didn't work for me. It was just too much back and forth, too much whining, too much, oh, he loves me, but I love him, and now I don't know what to do, and I'm stuck in, and my chest hurts, and my heart hurts, and like, it just got a little bit overwhelming. I think the book could have been shorter by about 10 to 15 pages if we took some of that out. But even still, I mean, I give it like a 3.75. It's not a terrible book. And honestly, it's a good second book. Like, a lot of times when you're reading series, like, the second book is just like trash. And you're just like, what happened in the middle? And you get to the third book, it's great. So we'll see what happens when we get to the third book. That is a little bit further down in my pile because I've got some other things that have been on the list a little bit longer that I want to get to first. But like I said, 3.75-ish. It's not quite a 4. There were just, some things that I just wanted less of. But it's just a really cool concept. The idea that, fairies mostly stay alive because of our imagination and our love of fairies and scary movies and all that stuff. That's why fairies stay alive. But because we have new things like technology, that has created a whole new breed of fairy, and that's just a really cool concept. So I really like that concept. And this was it's not super recent. It was written like in 2010, 2009. So it's getting a little bit old, but it still just rings so true to like what's going on in our society, minus a couple references like iPods. Do people still have iPods? I don't even know where my iPod is. I probably still have it somewhere. I just don't know where it's at. But just like small things like that I'm like, oh, that's a little dated, you know, and it was revolutionary back then. But this is definitely still a very relevant story, and I didn't think it would be as relevant as, you know, time gets on. I'm always surprised to see, you know, even within a 10-year span or a 15-year span, how things go way out of date real fast, when it doesn't necessarily mean to be. And this one is still very relevant 15 years later. So really enjoying the series. Look forward to reading the next book in the series. I discovered there are 5 books in the series. And so I only have 3 of them. But I will be able to get a hold of the others at a later point because they are kind of further down my list. But yeah, so again, like I said, the Iron Face series, this book was Iron Daughter, and it just really good, really interesting, really nice second book in the series. Cool. So that is all for this particular book review. I am continuing to plowing through the pile, which I've added to my physical pile, but not to the book list pile, the digital pile, if you will, because I found a bunch of the books that I was looking for. So I snagged those up at a half-price book sale, as one does. And so I'll be reading through some more of those coming up here soon. And as always, please feel free to comment more books. They just get added to the digital pile, and when I get to them, I get to them. That's where we're at. But really looking forward to continuing to read the book suggestions that you guys have given over the last couple of years. But please, by all means, continue to suggest books. It just might take me a little longer to get to them. I'm really enjoying some of the suggestions that are being passed out, and you'll hear about those in a few more book reviews. And then also, yay, end of spring break. I know we've got people heading back to school pretty soon, and we've got a very exciting solar eclipse. Everyone is talking about it. I probably won't do a whole lot on it. I am actually in school on the solar eclipse. A lot of schools around here are out of school. Lucky. We are one of the few that are still in. But looking forward to hearing about that. So I'm actually on the hunt for some books about solar eclipses that would be like a little bit more novel. And I think I'm going to give my students a writing assignment to write a story relating to the solar eclipse. So be on the lookout for that and see what happens with that. Outside of that, I will see you guys all in the next book review. Bye.